Some stories of flight end with cheers and champagne. Others end with sirens, a shattered canopy, and a silence that drowns out everything. Tonight, we count down 5 real incidents that shook the paragliding and wingsuit world, with #1 guaranteed to leave you speechless. You think you're safe because you're on the ground, watching from a screen? That's what hundreds of witnesses thought before a single missed cue, a sudden gust, or one broken line rewrote lives in seconds. And before we dive in, if these hard truths make your stomach tighten, that's good. It means you're still listening. Subscribe now so you don't blink and miss the warning that might save you or someone you love. If you won't, go to the comments and explain why you're okay staying in the dark while others learn the lesson you refuse to face. Number 5. The creator who lived to count the scars. Anthony Vella, 2024. A blue Texas sky, dry earth stretching to the horizon, the kind of day you'd swear nothing bad could happen. A camera rolls as a paramotor lifts, lines taut, wings centered. Anthony Vella, a name thousands know for making flight feel accessible, is airborne, the propeller humming behind him. He's done this countless times: familiar launch sites, practice patterns, safety briefings that border on ritual. Then the physics that always obey you decides not to. The wing pitches, shifts, and snatches a bite of air the wrong way. The next frames are the kind that make you forget to breathe. A tilt, a snap, a rapid sink. The ground doesn't rise, it charges. Impact. The camera doesn't spare him. The human body was never designed to meet the ground like that. Not at that speed, not at that angle, and not with that much weight strapped to it. Bones surrender. Neck, back, pelvis, arm. The kind of injuries that rewrite the rest of your life, if you get a rest of your life at all. There's a terrible quiet right after a crash, a quiet that's somehow louder than screaming. He's conscious. He tries to move. Pain answers. He calls out for help, voice tight with shock, the most human sound imaginable. Minutes stretch. A bystander runs toward him, then another, then the frantic chorus of first responders begins. Hospitals turn people into numbers. Vitals, scans, surgical schedules. But here's the truth. Every number is a person who almost wasn't. In the days that follow, updates trickle out. He survived. A spine held together by medicine and luck. An arm that will never be quite the same. A reminder that even the pilots who teach you how to do it right live one mistake, one gust, one misread texture of air away from catastrophe. Why start here? Because you need to feel it first. The razor's edge between routine flight and life before the crash. If you think you're too familiar, too careful, too experienced to be surprised, this is your wake-up. And if you're watching this thinking, I'll come back later, hear me clearly. Subscribe right now. Not tomorrow, not after you forget, because the next story happened live and you won't have time to press rewind when the worst begins. If you still won't do it, drop a comment and justify why you'd rather be comfortable than informed. Number 4. The camera was still rolling. Armin Schmieder, 2016. The Alps don't forgive. They never have. A valley near Kandersteg, Switzerland. Jagged walls of rock cut a sky so clean it looks sharpened. A paragliding pilot prepares. Helmet, harness, checks repeated until muscle memory takes over. He's 28, fit, focused, experienced. The live stream is already running. Friends and strangers lean closer to screens as the wind brushes the microphone. He jokes, smiles, says he'll be right back, the kind of offhand line we've all thrown out when we expect to return. The phone goes into a pocket, the lens catching only slivers of world, fabric, breath, muffled sound. Then the step, the launch, the rush. But something is wrong. We don't see what he sees, only hear what he cannot correct in time. A change in wind, a line not where it should be, a plan outpaced by gravity. The sound shifts. Then it stops. Authorities confirm what viewers feared. He didn't make it. A young athlete, live to the world one moment and gone the next, leaving a recording that would never have an ending. The news crosses borders in minutes. A tragedy on the screen that for a heartbeat made everyone imagine the drop beneath their own feet. If you've never stood on a cliff edge with a wingsuit, you'll be tempted to judge. Don't. Risk always looks unforgivable from the couch. Up there, judgment is worthless. Only preparation, weather, and seconds count. And still, the mountain doesn't care how prepared you are. What does this teach? That time is a weapon. You can't bargain with a few missing seconds. You can't negotiate with a misread gust. The stream keeps recording even after a heartbeat stops. And somewhere, a family answers a phone they'll never forget answering. We've started with survival. Then we stepped into a death every viewer could not unhear. Coming up, we go from a live stream to another kind of footage. A helmet cam moment where a pilot runs out of options and invents one in real time, barely a breath before impact. But before we get there, listen, don't wait for luck. Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss the one lesson that might keep you above the ground you can't out-argue. And if fear is stopping you from subscribing, prove it. Write your excuse in the comments and tell the rest of us why your pride is worth more than your safety. If you're still here, that's because some part of you understands the cost of a single mistake. The next story lays it out with the clarity of slow motion. Number 3. The lines wrapped, the earth rushed. Kevin Philipp, 2022. Organyes, Spain, a small Catalan town with a big reputation in acro paragliding. Pilots come here to practice moves that make the sport look like art. Stalls, helicos, sats, tumbling rotations that seem to ignore gravity itself. On good days, the air over the valley is a dance floor. On bad days, it's a trap. Kevin Philipp is mid-maneuver, a pilot who knows the difference between showmanship and control. Then it happens, the kind of collapse that folds the wing into a knotted flag and wraps lines around limbs and harness. In a heartbeat, the tool that keeps you alive becomes a net that drags you down. The loss of lift is instant. The swing becomes a fall. We see it through his lens. The ground is a blur, the horizon gone. He reaches for one solution, a rescue chute, but entanglement steals even that. Then a second chance, the reserve. He cuts, he throws, and prays there's enough altitude left to matter. The canopy blossoms a few heartbeats above the hillside. Not graceful, not textbook, but open. It bites into the air, slows the descent, and snaps him upright hard enough to bruise. He hits the earth with the kind of landing you only walk away from if you redefine walk. He's alive, barely. Watch it again, and the lesson won't be the heroics. It will be the timing. The way the entire problem unfolds and resolves in the space of a sentence. The silence before the reserve opens is long enough to fit a lifetime of regret. A reserve parachute is not a promise, it's a margin you only get if you build it with altitude, packing discipline, and the ugly awareness that today might be the day you need it. If you've ever wondered why pilots practice throws on the ground until their fingers know the motion without asking the brain for permission, this is why.
And if you're thinking, that's skill, not luck, you're right, but skill buys you chances, not guarantees. Number 2. Touching the Impossible. Red Bull's A Door in the Sky, 2017. The Swiss Alps again. This time, a different script. 2 names whispered with equal parts awe and disbelief, Fred Fugen and Vince Refit, the Soul Flyers. The plan sounds like something someone would sketch as a joke. Jump from a high alpine peak in wingsuits, fly the ridgelines with surgical precision, match speed with a Pilatus porter, and enter the plane through its open door in midair. The door is a rectangle of darkness moving across a blue sky. The pilots are white commas stitching themselves along rock and cloud. To anyone who doesn't understand the margins, it looks like magic. To those who do, it looks like work. Weather windows, rehearsals with and without the aircraft, glide ratio math etched into muscle memory, and a kind of focus that empties the world of everything but the gate you must hit. They fall from the cliff and the mountain begins to move around them. The visual rush that tells you how fast you're going. Valleys lean. This is terrain flying, where a wrong line isn't a missed mark, it's a funeral. They hold position, steer with fingertips, check headings, and when the plane slides into frame, they commit. It's not clean on the first try because real feats aren't fairy tales. Corrections, patience, another pass. Then the alignment clicks. One, then the other slips through the door and into the cabin, as if air itself hardened into a runway. The plane surges away carrying two humans who moments before were part of the sky. Why is this on a list of tragedies and near tragedies? Because it proves something important. Not every impossible line ends in loss, but every impossible line flirts with loss. And the price of getting it wrong is the same price others on this list paid. Respect the difference. Respect the risk. You felt the close call. You've watched a stream outlive a heartbeat. You've seen precision bend reality. There's one story left, the one you've been waiting for, the name people around the world know without needing context. And it doesn't end with a hospital recovery or a triumphant plane door. Before we step into it, hear me for the last time. Subscribe now. If you care about the truth behind the headlines, the details that separate rumor from reality, then join us. If you still won't, tell everyone in the comments why you'd rather look away when the lesson could save a life. Number 1. The Legend and the Silence. Felix Baumgartner, 2025. Porto Sant'Elpidio, Italy. Adriatic light on the water, a beach town that wakes up to umbrellas and ends the day with gelato and salt on the breeze. People gather near a hotel pool, not expecting to witness history of any kind, and certainly not this kind. Felix Baumgartner is in the air of Not the astronaut without a ship who fell faster than sound in the thin blue-black above the desert, but as a man on a motorized paraglider, a paramotor, that lets you draw your own path across a summer sky. If anyone could make flight look easy, it was him. Witnesses would later describe what they never wanted to describe, the craft spinning, a sudden loss of control, a sound that didn't belong in the afternoon, a hard, concussive boom. The paramotor struck near the pool. A few feet of concrete, the last line between air and water. People ran. Lifeguards shouted. The seconds after impact felt like hours. There are some names that carry a kind of protection, as if fame could suspend the rules of physics. But the rules never cared about fame. First responders worked the only problem that mattered. The city's mayor would confirm what the scene already knew. Felix Baumgartner, the man who stepped from a capsule on the edge of space and turned the entire world into an audience, was gone. In the days that followed, the facts hardened. The location, the time, the witness accounts of the spin and the sound. Investigators did what they always do, gathered fragments, assessed the machine, reviewed the weather, and listened to the people who saw what no one wanted to see. They didn't rush the cause. Real answers take longer than rumor will ever allow. What do we do with a story like this? We remember that legends are human, and that risk doesn't care what records you broke yesterday. We honor the work, the planning, the discipline, the sheer courage. And we refuse to learn the wrong lesson. Not don't try, but know exactly what you're trying. Not never fly, but never pretend the air owes you mercy. Felix's life was a study of edges. He spent years walking them, and more often than not, returning with a souvenir for the rest of us. Data, images, reasons to look up. His last flight is a reminder that the line between mastery and mortality never disappears, even for the masters. If you're still here, you already understand why we tell these stories. It's not to gawk. It's to remember, to put names and dates on the truths that make flight both beautiful and unforgiving. It's to show what happens when seconds vanish, when a line tangles, when a door in the sky opens and two pilots make it through, and when a legend falls, not from space, but from the same sky you and I stand under. You've just walked through 5 moments that changed lives. You decide what you do with it. If you choose to be the person who learns, subscribe and stay with us. We'll keep telling the stories others reduce to headlines, the ones that actually teach. If you choose not to, be honest about it. Go to the comments and explain why you're comfortable ignoring what might keep you alive when the air goes strange above your head. Because in this world, knowledge is not comfort. It's a parachute you hope you never have to throw. And you only have it if you packed it before the lines wrapped and the ground began to rise.